guys, welcome to MyAirbags. I'm Eli, and today we're taking out the airbag module on this GMC Terrain. On this GMC Terrain, these are the tools that I recommend that you use. I've got my power drill, a flathead screwdriver or a flat bar. Now you don't have to use this tool here. Anything with a thin prying edge will do the job. You have your socket wrench here. You're going to make it a lot easier if you use an extender. Then you have your 7mm and 10mm sockets. And for the seat belts, you're going to need a T30 bit. Now, anytime we're working with the airbag system, we always want to make sure that we disconnect the battery first. Whether we're working on the airbag module, the airbags, or the seat belts, we always want to make sure we disconnect the battery. Now, if you come in right over here, we've got our positive right over here. We're going to want to loosen this nut right here. I'm using my 10mm. I'm not going to take it all the way out, but just loosen it up and you'll be able to wiggle it back and forth. Once it's completely off, put it to the side and make sure there's no possible way that it's going to make contact with that battery once we're working on it. We don't want that. We're going to do the same thing on the negative side. Just loosen it up just a little bit, just enough to wiggle it out, and then put it to the side where there's no possible way it's going to make contact again. Let's go inside. The next step is to go ahead and move the two front seats halfway up. The reason for that is we're going to actually start working on the back side of this center console. In the back seat, you're going to see this little circular plastic piece right here. We're going to want to pop it off. You can use anything that has a nice thin edge to it. I'm going to use this tool right here. You could use a little flathead screwdriver that's thin enough. I'm going to go right in here and just pry it up, and it's going to pop off very easily, just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. There's one just like that on the other side. Next, I'm going to come in with a 10mm socket, and I'm going to disconnect this part. There is the screw that was in there. Same thing on this side. And that's all you need to do back here. Now let's go back up front. You may need to push the seats back again so you have more room to work. Lift up the center console armrest, and these little tabs are the beginning of the side panel for the center console. We're going to want to press up on them and pop the tabs. The tabs go through all throughout the side here, and we're just going to go ahead and start popping them off. You're going to hear a lot of pops. Nothing bad is happening. It's just these tabs are meant to just pop right off. Same thing on this side as well. Right down here on the passenger side, we're going to go right down here, and there's another plastic tab. You may not even need a tool. You can just probably put your fingernail in there if it's long enough, or a screwdriver, and just pry it out. It's another one of these protectors. Down in there we have a 7mm socket. And I'm actually going to remove the rug as well. And I'm going to start prying this up right here. Again, it's held down by tabs. Just pop it. Once you have all of them popped, Right here, there's some slider tabs that go right into the dash. You may want to just push down on it and pull out. Just like that. Be careful not to scratch the interior. This is pretty bendable, but those are the tabs that I was just talking about. And then once all the tabs are popped, go ahead and remove the side panel. Here you can see the tabs that I was referring to. They just pop right off, no damage. While I have my 7mm on, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these two right here. 1, 2. Now with the 10mm, you're going to disconnect this one here. And we actually have one more underneath this rubber piece right here. If you come in a little closer, you'll see that there's a little hole right there. And down in there, we're going to remove a 10mm bolt as well. It looks just like that. It's a little nuts. 10mm on that. You may need to get a socket, a long socket wrench for that as well. All right, over here on the driver's side, we have a slightly bigger panel that we will just remove. Again, held on by some plastic tabs on this side. Just like that. Now, if you look in there, we'll have another 7mm socket. Just like that. And we're going to continue by removing the rest of the side console. First by removing the carpet, removing the rug, that is. The reason for that, this kind of sits really snug against the rug, so when that comes off, it's easier if the rug isn't there. So we'll continue popping this off. You just want to work it to where you can remove it, slide it out from up there, and remove it in a way where you're not damaging the interior. You can also actually move this steering wheel out and up to make it easier, and that actually slides right out. Same thing on this side, right in here, underneath this rubber, we have one 10mm socket in there. And I'll go ahead and move that right now. And then we have one more 10mm right over here. And we're going to switch back to that 7mm and remove these up here. Okay, here's what you need to know. When the car gets into an accident, there's three main things that could be causing the light to be on: the airbags, the airbag computer module, and the seat belts. Any deployed airbags must be replaced with new airbags. You can buy a new airbag module. The problem is they cost up to a few $100, plus you have to pay a dealership technician to go in and program it to your car. In other words, you have to marry the new unit to your car. Here at MyAirbags.com, we work closely with body shops, collision shops, and salvage rebuilders in all 50 states. Instead of buying a new airbag computer, we can actually reset your original airbag module. In other words, we clear it of all codes And because it's original to your car, programming is not necessary. Seatbelts also deploy and they throw trouble code. Instead of buying expensive replacements, you can actually send in your seatbelts along with your module. Our seatbelt techs are licensed and they hold an ATF certification. This means that after your seatbelts are rebuilt, they will work again as designed. They will deploy in another accident event. Right after I remove this airbag module, stick around and we'll take a peek at the seatbelts. If you want to know more, just click on the link in the description below or just go to MyAirbags.com. At this point, we're ready to remove the center console. We're going to put this down. I like to grab it with one hand in the back and one in the front just to guide it towards the back. Lift up in the back and slide. Over here, you will see that it's still connected by some of these cables here. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove just some of the plugs. They get removed by simply squeezing on a few parts. Like this one, you can squeeze on top and pull it out. This one has a little red lever where you pull out and then squeeze the one on top, like that. This one is a little harder. I'm gonna leave that one alone, and so is this. And I don't really need them because they have so much slack where I can keep pulling the center console back and still get to the module. The only one I will disconnect from down here is this big old thing right here. And you want to just press down on this button, pull away, and then press down right there, and then take that lever, remove it, pull. Just don't forget to put these back when you're putting the center console back. At this point, I've got a lot of slack. I don't even have to disconnect the rest. I can just pull this center console all the way back. And if you look right over here, those yellow plugs that you see there, that's the airbag module. Now, we do have some things in the way, some obstacles. We have the air vent, two of them right here. They're pretty flexible. We're going to use that to our advantage. And we actually have a little cable conduit right here. I'm going to try to get to the module without disturbing all this. Less work, the better. So the only thing you need are the right tools for that. So for this job, to remove the airbag module, I recommend using something that looks like this. You're going to need a socket wrench. You're going to need an extender to it, just so you can get down into it. And then you can use pretty much any size 10 millimeter at that point. I'm going to use a little extended version of it, but again, just a regular 10 millimeter should do just as well. The reason for that is you just want to get right in between the air vents, if you can see what I'm doing, right down to the nuts, and you're going to remove it and slide the module out. Now, really important, at this point I do have the power disconnected to the car. I want to reiterate that one more time. The reason that's so important is because if the car is powered on and then we're moving the module around, the module is designed and it still thinks that it's in the car. It's going to think that there's something dangerous going on or the car is rolling over. It's going to deploy any airbags. If I have any airbags installed in this car, it's going to deploy all of them, including the roof airbags especially. We don't want that to happen. It will probably deploy the seat belts. Pretty much everything will deploy. We don't want that. So let's go ahead and make sure you have the car battery disconnected. There's nothing on, nothing works on this car at this point. And second precaution we're going to take is disconnect the plugs first and then the bolts. So let's go right over here and I'll show you how to disconnect the plugs. Now there's the plugs right there. These little red buttons right here, push it forward. And then once you push that forward, this lever will actually be free. You may need to press down on a little piece that's holding it down, but at that point you should be able to slide it just like that and then unplug it. And unplug it just like that. I'm gonna just partially unplug it for now and free up this one. Same thing here, just pull down on that red button, pull away, and then move that lever all the way over, and that will go ahead and just unplug. This conduit, you may need to actually just pop the little plastic fasteners that are holding it. That might be easier for you to get another inch or two. You can also just remove it just like this. All right, so now that I got that module unplugged, you can see it's hiding right underneath these vents right here. And we're still gonna be able to get to the nuts. There's one right there, and there's another one right over there. I'll start with the easier one, which is right here on the outside. Yep, right there. And you can see why this socket wrench setup is so much easier. Next, we're gonna go right in the between, and you can see that one right there. And this makes it so much easier. And then again, you can see why this socket wrench setup is so much easier. We don't even have to worry about removing these troublesome air vents. And then the third one is on this side, right over here. Slide it in. And there's the third one. At this point, we can actually go ahead and remove the module. You're gonna lift it up and just slide it out the back. Here's what the module looks like. It's a black plastic module. Remember, it's always bolted down to the floor of the vehicle. It's never on the carpet or like underneath the seat, on the seat or anything like that. It's always attached to the frame of the vehicle. If you need the part number, that's where it is right there, that 8-digit number. Usually the first 4 will be really small print, followed by the larger 4-digit print right there. That's all one part number in case you're looking to buy one. However, if you weren't aware, you can actually reset your original module, the one that's coming out of your car. And that's what we do here at MyAirbags. We can actually reset your original module, and you don't have to worry about buying a new one for a couple $100. And then you don't have to pay a technician to go in and program it and hope it works. Everything is original to your car. Just get your original reset, MyAirbags.com. Now let's take a look at the seatbelts. Now if you're a rebuilder, you already know that the seatbelts do deploy as well. Some people don't know, and while they're rebuilding it, they do the airbags and the module, and then they won't realize, but their seatbelts will either be locked up, or they might be free and working, but there'll be a code, and that code is letting them know that you need to replace the seatbelts. The problem with the seatbelts is that they're so expensive. Usually in a couple $100 here at MyAirbags, we can actually rebuild the original seatbelts that are coming right out of your car. And we're just gonna briefly take a look on how to remove them. And we're gonna talk about this car here because it has a dual stage system, meaning it has 2 parts that deploys. And I'm gonna show you both. I'm gonna start right down here. I really wanna get down to the side panel here. That's where the seatbelt is installed, but to get there I have to lift up this part here, and I can either do that with my hands if I pry underneath, and you'll hear some popping noises. Those are the tabs again, just like that. You can use a flat bar or a flat head screwdriver, and you can get it in underneath the panel. Just pop it up. Now you don't need to move the whole thing up, just as long as you have this part up comfortably, then you can go ahead and lift up the side panel here. And working our way up the side panel here. And now that's all for the front. Let's go to the back, because that's where most of the action will happen. And And we're gonna do the same thing on this side here, just free up that center panel first by removing the back panel off the top of it, just like that. Don't worry, you're not breaking anything, it's just these little tabs that are holding it. And you can do the same for the center. And I'm going to stop in just a moment and remove this part here. You're going to want to grab something that has a nice thin edge to it and just start prying this little lid right off. It's going to hang or come off just like that. Now let's go ahead and use our 7mm. Okay, right down here is where all the action is. This is the main seatbelt pretensioner unit. You'll see that the seatbelt rolls right up in there. This is also one of two parts that deploy. Most cars will just have this part, just only this part that deploys and holds the passenger down. However, on this car and most newer cars, they're going to have a dual or triple stage system. The way we know that, or the way we identify that, is just by counting the plugs. There's one plug right up here. It's usually purple, yellow, or orange. You want to go ahead and disconnect that. Of course, when you're working on this, you're going to want to make sure the battery is disconnected, just like with the modular airbags. So if you're removing this part, you want to go ahead and remove that plug right there, and then you're going to unfasten this bolt right over here. And if you come up here, there's another bolt that you can unfasten here, and that whole side will become loose. Now, if we go up to the front, I'll show you where the rest of the seatbelt is located. So this over here, this is the other end of the belt, and if you follow it closely, you'll see it disappears into here. Now, there's a part down here that also deploys. We're gonna take this apart and I'll show you. First, you're gonna need a T30 bit, and we're gonna wanna come right down here. All right, you wanna get right into here and pry this up. Comes off fairly easily. Take your T30 and remove that. Once I got that out of the way, you're gonna go ahead and wiggle this and work this out. And then you wanna slide it that way. Slide it that way. And here we see what's called the anchor tensioner or lap tensioner. This also deploys, it locks down, and it holds the passenger. And as you can see, there's the yellow plug right there. Same thing here, you want to disconnect the battery anytime you're removing that part, and you can also disattach it from the seat by disconnecting this part right over here. Once you got the whole system out and you're ready to ship it in with your airbag module together, you can go to MyAirbags.com. Once we get it, we'll go ahead and service it and ship it back out to you within 24 hours. And of course, it comes with a warranty. Any questions you may have, we're always here for you. MyAirbags.com. Hey guys, if you're sitting there with a question in mind, go to MyAirbags.com and click on Help. On there, you can type in a keyword or a question, and most likely the right answer will pop up right for you. If it doesn't, we're always here on the phones. You can email us, chat with us, or you can even just text us. We're always here to help you. MyAirbags.com. Now's the time to give us a big like, subscribe to our channel. We have more videos just like this. Comment. I really enjoy reading your comments. This is Eli with MyAirbags.com. Save time and money on your next project.